What's good, people? I hope you are well, and I hope you are all enjoying your day and, of course, your week. We build up to, let's be real, a Dubai break for Arsenal. And you know what? I think we need it. I can't even lie to you. I actually think that we need it. It's not going to be a very nice time to be an Arsenal fan for the next few days, people. I'm really sorry about that for all of you, but sometimes we have to face the music. Sometimes we have to face the facts. And I'm going to talk about some today. I'm actually going to bring up a couple of individuals that haven't actually been spoken about for quite some time because of how much money they spend at the club. And I want to ask the question, are Stan and Joshua Kroenke happy with their process? Because people think this is a Mikel Arteta process at Arsenal, and it's not. Actually, it's not Mikel Arteta that employed himself. It's not Mikel Arteta that's keeping himself in the job. It's not Mikel Arteta that keeps telling everybody that we need to trust their process and give people time, etc., etc. This is all falls on Josh and Stanley Kroenke. Now, a lot of people have a difference of opinion about where they're at with the Kroenkes. In the last couple of decades, they've owned some of the club, a little bit more of the club, and now total ownership of the club. And we've seen some changes throughout those periods. And I think we've had different understandings of what their involvement has been across the last couple of decades. Now, 2008, they were new. No one really knew much about them. They just read up about their previous sports franchises. And we're going to investigate a little bit about that a bit further. For me, I want to know where the Kroenkes are at ambition-wise, because I'm still not sure. And I'm not bringing this podcast up because, or this topic, I suppose, up because of the recent results. I thought it was a good time halfway through the season to see whereabouts people's mindsets at with the Kroenkes. They get kept out of everyone's mouths for quite some time, and I don't know why. Maybe it is because Mikel Arteta is the sole reason to blame for either how well we're doing or how poor we're doing. But I think differently. I think very, very differently, in fact. And when you are the owner, you have the sole responsibility for what happens at this football club. And for me, when I look at the ownership of Stan and Joshua Kroenke, it's been nothing short of abysmal so far. And I'll tell you why. I cannot disagree more with people that say they've spent money. They've spent money. Facts. Facts. Pure facts. Can't get away from the fact they spent money. We've spent more money in the last 4 years under this process than Manchester City. We've spent more than Real Madrid. There is only, in fact, I believe, PSG, Chelsea and Manchester United that have spent more money than Arsenal Football Club in the last 4 years. It's not about not spending money. Two things. Look at what we're spending it on. And secondly, look at who's been put in charge to allow to spend that money on. And there lies my problem. Big up Strasbourg Sieg, man. I hope you're well, bruv. Says big up, Dan. Enjoy your content, even as a Newcastle fan. Big up, man. Well, we're talking about ownership, mate. And at the moment, you seem to have the ambition to try and take Newcastle as far as possible in the right way. We're going to find out in a couple of years how serious Newcastle owners are in comparison to some of the others, i.e. the Glazers, Todd Bowley, Kroenke, and of course the ones that people are jealous of at the moment, Manchester City's owners. We're going to see that. And that's where I want to start with the ownership, about the ambition. If you had ambition to go and win something, would you employ a rookie? If you had ambition to win something, would you employ a rookie and put him alongside somebody who isn't really experienced in his field, i.e. Edu? If you had the ambition to win, would you allow a Arsene Wenger underachieving manager in Arsene Wenger to stay on his job too long? Would you allow for the process to be just qualified for top 4 in 4 years? Is that the ambition to win? Because there's being realistic about winning things and there's having a lack of ambition to win. And I think the two come hand in hand. A lot of people are telling me it takes time. No more excuses, man. The time is now. 4 years, £700 million spent. He's backed him. He's given him everything he wants. What are you going to do about it? So this is my question to you as a fan base, and this will be my question to the Kroenkes. If our season results in a trophyless one, which is looking pretty likely, and a top 4 finish, which is looking pretty fair, not unlikely or likely at the moment, it's too early, what do we do? What do we as a fan base do? Do we call for the manager to get sacked? Do we call for the ownership to get sacked? Or do we look at what happens and then make a decision? Because that is key for me. If we get to the end of this season, let's just say it's been abysmal. We come into the top 4. We're not really in a title race. We're not won the Champions League. We've gone out in the quarters and we're trophyless. If he stays on, I'm going for the owners. No more Mikel. Mikel, you're calm, man. You're doing your best job. It ain't good enough, but you're going to stay because the ownership does not believe that you are the problem. And that lies there, the problem, the ownership. If they don't make a change in the summer after a disappointing season like that we could have, I'm on the Cronkies out. I'm sorry. I don't rate them anyway. I don't like them anyway. I don't trust them anyway. So why would I trust them if they're going to keep this process going for 10, 15 more years in top four? They'll prove to me that their ambition is to get top four, not to win the league. And that ain't good enough for me. I want to be seeing a lot better than that. I want to be seeing a lot of this fan base start to explain and ask questions. Why, Joshua, why, Stan, are you keeping by a guy that can't get us any higher than top four? And of course, that's got to happen first. Mikel Arteta could go and win the league. Mikel Arteta could go and win the Champions League. Mikel Arteta could go and do the double and win both of them. But let's be realistic about it. Isn't going to happen. He's going to be in the top four, in my opinion, and we're going to be trophyless. And we might push for a title, but I just don't think we're playing well enough to take it to April, May, where Arsenal are 3 or 4 points off of the title. I think we're going to be further from that because we've lost many games already. We're not playing well enough and we're still massively short. So that's where I'm at. The second thing I want to point you to, I haven't watched it yet, but apparently on TalkSport today, there was a financial expert talking about clubs, and Arsenal were apparently mentioned. And apparently we're not in trouble with FFP. It's all rumour, it's all rubbish. The reason we were doing the David Raya thing, people thought we was because of FFP. Now, it might still be, I don't know. This is only what this guy's saying. If we wanted to go and sign Mbappe, Arsenal could. They've got the money to do it, right? This is what I've said. Now, I haven't watched this. This is a friend of mine who said he listened to it, and this is what was said. So I should have really watched it before I've commented on it now. But we've gone down that road anyway, so let's stick with it. Go and watch it. See what he says. Because apparently Arsenal are not in FFP problems. And if that's the case, I expect us to go and buy a striker. And I expect us to go and buy a midfielder. And I expect us to go and cover the positions where we're short, and we're clearly short. Everybody knows them. You can name them all together. It's like an all together now. We're short at full back, we're short at right centre back, we're short at right wing, we're short at box to box midfield, and we're short as a striker. That's clear. Clear as absolute clear as day. You can't tell me that we are not short in those positions. Now you can say the names of the players if you want that are there to prove that we're not short in those positions, but they're not adequate cover. Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, Fabio Vieira, Mohamed Elneny, Jorginho, Kivior. They are not good enough to be going and taking us to a title. I'm sorry. It might hurt some of your feelings. It might be that you have massive faith in Eddie Nketiah and Reece Nelson. They're not good enough. And I'll tell you why they're not good enough. The teams that are linked with them, name them. Eddie, Crystal Palace. Do Arsenal want to finish where Crystal Palace are? Reece Nelson, linked with West Ham, Wolves, I believe, and Palace because of the Elise rumours. Good enough? No. No. Smith Rowe, West Ham. Just because they've beaten us twice doesn't mean that we're now worse than them and we have to try and make sure that we finish around where they are because that's our level. No, not good enough. Jacob Kivior, he's been linked with a move away to a foreign side somewhere, but it's nowhere near the level that Arsenal want to be at. Elneny, Saudi Arabia, probably on a free. Jorginho, back to Italy somewhere like Lazio, maybe even Napoli or something like that if they really wanted him to go back there, but he wouldn't start. So my point is, these players need to be upgraded upon. And if the ownership are serious, then the Kroenke should be saying, right, Mikel, what is it you need? Edu, what is it you need? You must have targets. Talk to me. How much do we need to fund you? How much do you need? Talk to me. Let me know. That's what owners do, right? That's what good owners should do. If they knock on the door and say, hi, Josh, how you doing? Listen, Ivan Toney, we can get him. Jesus is injured. Eddie wants to leave, but we can get Ivan Toney. The problem is Brentford are saying they want 100 million. Now, we can throw in a player, but we're going to need probably 70 million or 80 million for them to budge. What are you saying? If they turn around and say, we ain't got it, sorry, Mikel, one, they're liars, yeah? And if they turn around and say, we can't spend it because of FFP, or if this guy's right on TalkSport saying financially Arsenal are fine, then it's absolute rubbish as well then, isn't it? So let's be real, yeah? Let's be real. The ownership are not unresponsible for what's happening at Arsenal Football Club right now. Let's just say that as a fact. If things go well, they don't get mentioned. When things go wrong, they get mentioned. Rightly so. Rightly so. because it's their process, right? If I'm a business owner and my business is underachieving, is it everybody else's fault and I sit in the background and let them take the heat? Absolutely not. Yeah? If something's rotten, you cut it off at the head, which means that if this club is rotting, then they're the ones that you cut away. Now, I'm not saying that the new owners that come in are going to be all rosy. All I want my owners to do is one thing. I don't care how much you spend. I don't care where you've come from. I don't care who you are or your upbringing. I care about one thing, taking Arsenal Football Club to the top where it belongs. That's what I care about. We're the third biggest club in England and we should start acting like it. And under this ownership so far, we haven't. We've held on to sentimental values. We've tried to ensure that we've given managers time and space, other than Unai Emery, by the way. We've allowed to back them with more money and more money and more money. Sometimes you need to actually look at a plan that you feel will work and stick by it and then realize, what's our exit strategy? Every good businessman has an exit strategy. What's our plan B? Every good businessman has a plan B for if things go wrong. I haven't seen an exit strategy or plan B. Now, I'm not expecting them to give me a sheet of paper and go, here's the document for our exit strategy. My point is, show me something as ownership that makes me believe that these people are accountable for the results on the football pitch and for the actions of the football club. That's what I want to be seeing. Because all I see at the moment is sending out new jerseys. All I see at the moment is new PR. All I see at the moment is bringing in dogs, calling them win. I don't want to be seeing that. I do not want that. Yeah. I love some of the things that have happened around the ground. I love the fact that last season the energy was electric and the ground, home and away, the support should be proud of what they've done. I love the fact that we brought in some national, not national, what's it called? The North London Forever song. I love the fact that that's been brought in. Some people hate the song. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. And I don't actually mind the fact that we're all together trying to sing in unity because that for me helps. I love the fact that around the ground we've removed some of the toxicity around the club and we've tried to get rid of the players to remove the culture and everybody on one page. I love all that stuff. I also want to win. And if you're only able to get us so far, the ownership should cut the cord and say, I'm sorry, you've built a good foundation here and you're giving it a hell of a go. Trust me, you've given it your shot and all your best. Your best hasn't quite been good enough. I wish you all the best and you'll be a coach and a manager somewhere, no doubt. But we are going to go and get a proven winner now. And that needs to happen at the end of the season if we've underachieved. Now, don't get me wrong, this conversation doesn't happen if we win the Premier League or the Champions League. But does anybody on this podcast believe me, in this chat, believe me, that we can actually win the title or a Champions League? I think we've got more chance of winning the Champions League than the league. Put it that way. And I don't think we've got any chance of winning that. So for me, it's going to be a trophyless season. I just hope that we don't finish below teams like Liverpool and Villa as well as City, because that is a serious failure. Now, there are some harsh comments about Mikel Arteta. Some of them are justified. Some of them are more harshly, I would say, questions or concerns as opposed to harsh comments. You're going to get harsh comments on Twitter. It's toxic, right? You're going to get that. But actually, when people say to me, has he won anything yet with this team? That's a justifiable question. Can he get us across the line? That's justifiable. Is he able to give us a plan B? That's justifiable. Is he able to prove to us that against a team with a low block, he can get past that and take 3 points? I think that's a achievable thing to do, but I also think it's a good question to ask. And when people ask me one thing, is Mikel Arteta a manager that will be a nearly there manager or a Jurgen Klopp or a Pep? We need to remember two things. He's a nearly there man right now because he's nearly won us the title. But so's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so's Brendan Rodgers, so's Pochettino. And it doesn't mean that you're a shocking manager. It just means that you ain't quite ready to take us to that next level. And lastly, let me finish on this. Why are we comparing Jurgen Klopp and Sir Alex Ferguson to Mikel Arteta, please? Why? Why would we do that? I don't get it. Two reasons. Sir Alex Ferguson had previous success with Aberdeen. Brendan Rodgers, who has, in my opinion, more of a liking to Mikel Arteta, and Pochettino and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and all these managers that nearly got there as well, nearly won leagues or nearly did this, nearly got across the line. Those are the ones that we should be comparing them to. Jurgen Klopp, successful at Dortmund. Mikel Arteta, this is his first job. So why on earth would we compare what he's doing at Arsenal with what Klopp is doing at Liverpool? Because he's already had previous at Mainz and at Dortmund. And Sir Alex Ferguson, by the way, and Jurgen Klopp didn't come to Man United and Liverpool and start finishing 10th, 11th, 12th, 8th, 8th, 5th. None of this. Jurgen Klopp got Liverpool into the top four of his first time of asking, and then he went on to win trophies. And they were serious trophies, by the way. It weren't a couple of tin pots. He won League Cups, FA Cups, and he's gone to the Champions League and won it. Got to a final and lost it. He's got to Premier League and taken Manchester City all the way, finished on 97 points and lost the league and managed to beat them. So if people expect what Klopp did to what Arteta did, we should be doing exactly what Klopp's done now. So we should have a couple of League Cups. We should have an FA Cup. We should have Champions League and be in a couple of finals by now. And we should have won one Premier League title. We haven't won another. So why are we comparing them? Sir Alex Ferguson, why are we comparing them? Why would we do this? I don't get it. I understood why people would compare Mikel Arteta to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to Gerrard, to Lampard, because they were all in their first jobs. I understood that one. That made sense to me. And it turns out that Mikel Arteta was better, but let's be real. Who's worse than them? Not many. Yeah, not many. Not many are worse than those guys. So when I look at it, Mikel Arteta has done a lot of good things at Arsenal. 100% he has. He's also done a lot of bad things. And it is okay to question Mikel Arteta. You don't have to sit there and think, I'm going to commit a crime, people, just to let you all know. The time is this, the date is this, I'm going to commit a crime. Are you ready? I'm not sure if Mikel Arteta can get us across the line. Oh, get toxic criminal, get him out of the club, go down that lane and support Tottenham. Go and get Big Ange on your side. Don't get it. What's happening here? And two things. One, why is it bad to question something? And two, why is your response go down to a club that don't win anything? That will answer it. Makes no sense. I'll tell you another thing that doesn't make any sense. It's fan base. The fan base that existed of going down Hornsey Road and trying to get Arsene Wenger out for coming second to Leicester now want this guy to stay for coming 8th, 8th, 5th and 2nd. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. And this isn't me saying this is why we should all want Arteta out now. This is me questioning the logic of the fan base. This is me wondering where our standards have gone and why we're not trying to raise them and why we're not trying to actually keep them up here as opposed to allowing them to drop. Some of it's the ownership. Hiring an apprentice and telling everybody this is going to take time. And all the lemmings that are gullible and believe it go, okay, Mr. Kroenke, we'll give it 5 years. People like me are saying, where are we going? People that get abuse on Twitter, people like Lee, people like Northside, people like Kenny Ken, those people that get abused, Turkish gets abused, Judges gets abused, myself, Troops. The reason we're getting abused is crazy. We want to win, don't you? Are you happy with coming 8th, 8th and 5th? Are you happy with throwing away top 4, throwing away league titles? Because where I'm at right now is clusters. Let me explain to you what I mean by clusters, shall I? When Mikel Arteta come into the job, I gave him the first 6 months to see what he was about. I had no idea. I didn't know much about his documentary on Amazon personally because I didn't watch the Pep Guardiola and Man City one. I didn't know what he was like. I knew he was a footballing man. I knew he was a half-decent player. And I knew that he was a good captain for Arsenal in his defence because actually, when I looked at Mikel Arteta, he was a pro. And you can see some of that's carried over into his management style, okay? But when I look at it, the first 6 months, he won me a trophy with an Unai Emery side that I was told was toxic. An Unai Emery side that consisted of players that, let's be fair, were very talented in parts, but did not consist of players with mentality that I thought could take us to the top. So I thought maybe this guy has got something special. He's highly rated. It's been spoken about in the media. It was quickly obvious to me and evident that he wasn't that guy when at the Emirates we were losing to Villa, we were losing to Burnley, Wolves, Leicester. I was done. What is going on here? Stop. This process isn't going to work. What's happening? We're 15th in the league. We're bottom of the league at one stage. And then he brought on Smith Rowe, Saka and Martinelli together. And the three of them against Chelsea turned it round. And we thought, okay, these three are saving him, but it ain't sustainable. Cluster of results. This is why I call Mikel Arteta a cluster. He loves a cluster. He had the cluster there, which I've just read out to you. The Burnleys, the Villas, the Evertons, the Leicesters, the Wolves. It's a cluster. I was done. I wanted him gone. Then I questioned it again. And people said to me, why are you so toxic? Why do you want this manager out? I said, because I feel like those cluster of results have to be accountable for. Why is he getting away with it? Then we went into the summer. First couple of windows, to be fair, didn't have much. He bought Cedric and Pablo Marie in his first ever one. But then he replaced Sol Campbell and Vieira finally with Partey and Gabriel, and I got behind it. Then it was that cluster, and I thought, no. Then we went to another one. Got a window in, which consisted of Erdegaard, Tomiyasu, Ben White. I remember giving it a fairly all right window, thinking, do you know what? We bought 6 players in here. That's not bad. And then I saw it again. Clusters. Everton away at Christmas. I was done. There was 2 or 3 games there. Clusters. Done. And we went for the top 4 the following season and we threw it away. Let's be real, we threw it away, right? We got into a stage where we had Brighton, we lost. Palace, we lost. Southampton, we lost. We threw top 4 away. And then we had an unbelievable chance of getting it back because somehow we beat Man United, Chelsea and West Ham. And then we went into that scenario of going to Newcastle away and we lost and we threw it away. We went to Tottenham and we threw it away. Another cluster of Mikel Arteta. Why can't we just lose one game? Why do we have to lose 4 or 5 in a row, 2 or 3 in a row, 1 or 2 in a row? Why can we not bounce back? He hasn't proven that he can yet. And then we go on a title race, and for 93 to 94% of it, we're top, we're flying, everyone's talking about us. All the neutral fans are hating on us. They can't stand us. They hate us as a club, as a fan base, as a player, as a manager. They can't stand us. And then what do? That word again, cluster. A cluster of results that completely destroy us. We can't beat Liverpool at Anfield, no shame. But then we go 2-0 up against them and West Ham and throw them both away and then end up seeing ourselves go 3-1 down to Southampton to try and salvage a draw at 3-3. Then we pick up a form again and we think, oh, it's too late. We might have thrown this away, but actually we're still in it. What do we do then? We go and lose to Brighton. Do we lose again? Yeah, we do. We don't bounce back from that one. We go and lose to Forest at the City Ground. So there's clusters of results with Mikel Arteta that proves to me mentally something's not right with him and the telepathy between the squad. Because that should be, Arsenal don't lose to Brighton, we go and win the next game. Arsenal don't lose to Forest, we go win the next game. Lose both of them? What are you telling me? And now we're seeing it again. Every single challenge so far this season, mentality-wise, it's been something wrong. I don't know what it is, but every single challenge so far. Our first challenge this season was to go to Tottenham at the Emirates and play in the North London derby. We bottled it, man, because Jesus goes through and it should be 2-0 and we should be away and see that game. Unfortunately, 2-2. 2-2. Then we go and have Fulham. Same thing. 2-1 up. They've got 10 men. Let's see it out. No, 2-2. We go to Stamford Bridge. We end up losing. City come to our ground. Massive, massive test. We get over the line. Albeit they had no KDB and Rodri, but injuries happen. We had no Partey and Jesus at the time, I believe it was. I look at it now and I think to myself, that's the only thing we've managed to do so far this season. Otherwise, it's last-minute goals against Man United, a team we should be beating. Last-minute goals against Brentford, Luton, 2 teams we should be beating. And then other unconvincing 1-0s or 2-1s. And then we get to our other challenges. This is the big one. It's my birthday weekend. Don't ruin my birthday weekend out in Newcastle. Please, Arsenal. Now we're going to, Dan. We're going to ruin it. Big test, failed. Villa Park's your next one. Christmas time. I'm away in Centre Parks with the family. Don't ruin my Centre Parks Christmas time, Arsenal. What have you done? You've lost again. Another challenge. Lost. Then what happens? Happy New Year. Happy Christmas. We're top of the table. We've gone to Anfield and we put in a fairly good performance. And we've taken away a point. We haven't managed to get 2-1, but we could have. They could have. We could have one of those games. Happy Christmas, everyone. Miserable New Year. Go to West Ham. Wasn't a challenge. Should have been easy. No. Go to Fulham. Not a challenge. Should be easier than others. No. Can't beat them. Lose them both. Clusters. And then what happens? Surely we won't win 2, like we lose more than 2, like we did against Forest and Brighton. We'll bounce back now for sure. We go to Liverpool at home and we lose. So this is where I'm at, guys. We lose in clusters. And why is that? Why are we losing in clusters? What is it? Something wrong mentally. We've not been able to go to any of the away grounds that were big and important under the lights and on TV and win this season. How many have we gone to that you thought, oh, the Arsenal have actually done well there? They've gone to the Etihad and under the lights, they've won. St James's Park, no. Villa Park, no. North London derby, no. Couldn't beat Fulham home or away. Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, no. Liverpool in the cup, no. West Ham in the cup, no. Another one. Let's be real. Let's just say it how it is. There's problems. There's concerns. Is there solutions? Yeah, I believe there is. I believe there is solutions. I think there's potential for us to try and change something up. Doesn't mean change the whole starting 11, but within the game, I'd like to see some things different. I'd like to see potentially a different formation with a couple of options from the bench. Maybe we can put Martinelli through the centre with Kai Havertz if it's not quite working, and see if he can chest it and link up play a little bit like a Giroud did, flicking it onto a Podolski or Walcott. Maybe he can try and do that. I mean, I don't rate the guy, but maybe that's a different option. Maybe Smith Rowe can come and try and hold down his position on the left from the bench a bit more. We haven't seen that for a long time. Or if you want to put Saka into a position where he has somebody next to him that he works with alongside Ødegaard or instead of Ødegaard, Smith Rowe might be that guy, because when we were going for a top 4 position, those two were smashing it together and they were on the same side. So maybe we can look at that as an option. Maybe we do something more in midfield and bring in Jorginho for a couple more games to try and control the midfield like people say that he can. But don't just bring on like for like, because I'm sick and tired of Trossard coming on for Martinelli, Eddie coming on for Jesus, and Nelson coming on for one of the other guys and going for it. I'm sick and tired of Jorginho having to come on after like another sub's needed, or Tomiyasu just changing for Zinchenko. These are so predictable and people know it. People are aware of it. And if you say, oh, well, we haven't got anybody else, exactly my point. Look at the state of the squad. Not the first 11, look at the state of the squad. And I would argue the first 11's weaker now, by the way. I think the first 11 is actually weaker than last year, because at the moment, Thomas Partey's out. When everyone's fit, we might be stronger. We haven't seen it yet. I think our first 11, Timber and Partey both starting it, in my opinion. Our best 11, Ramsdale in goal. Still think he's better than Raya from what I've seen. Ben White at right back, Saliba right centre-back, Gabriel left centre-back, Timber at left back. I think Partey, Rice and Ødegaard as a midfield three, and then Saka, Martinelli and Jesus. And then you can bring on Trossard when he's fit, Smith Rowe. You can bring on Fabio Vieira, who I don't really rate, but another option from the bench who's injured at the moment. But really, ain't any of those impact subs, are they really? You don't look at them and think, oh, they're going to change the game. And this is what I mean. Why we need to buy players. If you're bringing on Ivan Toney instead of Eddie Nketiah, or Pedro Neto instead of Nelson, or you're bringing on somebody, let's say, like Xavi Simons instead of Fabio Vieira, you're bringing on at the back thinking, Zinchenko, that's a shame he's got a knock, or Timbers, that's a shame he's got a knock. And you're bringing on Kieran Tierney, who comes back, or another left back if people don't want Kieran Tierney. If Saliba gets injured and it's like, it's a shame, but Diamande can come in and do a job at Sporting Lisbon. There we go. We're kind of covering all areas, aren't we? Ben White gets a knock, Tomiyasu's there. Yeah, Martinelli gets a knock, Trossard comes in. That's the way it should be, man. That's the way it should be. And unfortunately, when people say we just need a striker, you're fooling yourself, man. People keep saying to me, what would you do in the summer, Dan? What would you do in the January transfer window? What would you do? Would you get one or other? I get both. Would you prefer a centre midfielder or a striker? Both. Why are we mugging ourselves off by saying we only need one? We clearly need both. We clearly need Onana, let's say, who we're linked with, and Toney. Not one or the other. We need both. And we need a winger. And we need a right-sided centre-back. When are we going to wake up to that fact? It's scary for me. It's scary. It really is scary that people think we do not need those player positions covered. Of course we do. We need them upgraded. So that's where I'm at. So I leave you on this. If we get to the end of the season and we feel we've underachieved, what are the Kroenkes going to do? And what are the fan base going to do if the Kroenkes do nothing? That's what I want to ask. Are the fan base going to be happy? Because my fear is that Arteta could come sixth this season and the fan base still say, give him another go. My also fear is that the Kroenkes could do that and we're stuck with him for another year if we come top 6 and trophyless. I hope I'm wrong. I think personally, if you ask me now, I think Arsenal will come third behind Liverpool and City. I think we'll finish trophyless and I think we'll probably go past Porto and then potentially lose in one of the big games in the quarters or semi-finals against, say, a Bayern Munich or a Real Madrid, or maybe a Man City if we're unlucky to get them early enough. That's my honest opinion. That's my prediction for the season. If you think I'm a negative, toxic fan, that's your opinion. I respect that. But don't tell me how I should support my club like I don't tell you how you should support yours. For me, I give my opinions on here. If people don't like them, I don't expect you to. Comment and tell me you're unsubscribing if you want. I get that a lot. Unsubscribing. Sorry, don't agree with him. Okay, bye. I don't want you here. See you later. You're watching me for. I don't watch Coronation Street because I don't like it. I don't comment on ITV to say I'm unsubscribing from your show. I just don't watch it. Bizarre, man. Absolutely bizarre. Listen, people, do me a favor, man. Get the likes up. I need you to do me a favor because I'm on 250 people in here. I'm only on 68 likes. I need you to be seriously hitting that like button for me, people. It's like that. Come out the chat, press the cross, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and then bring the chat back up. That's all I need you to do, man. Please, it does the channel so much good. If you do want to go check out Northside's rant, then please make sure you do. You'll see it on here. It's the video before. Wow. He really went in hard, and it's well worth a listen, people, because my God, he is not a happy bunny at the moment. Let's be real. James, big up yourself, my bro. Thanks for the super chat, man. He says, you're right about adjustments, but I will say it doesn't have to only be a plan B. But if there's no plan B, then you better be able to adjust plan A. And this is a great point, James. And I'm glad you brought this up, right? Because for me, Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp do not have a plan B. They make plan A better. And that's what Arteta has not been able to do either. We haven't been able to keep to plan A but improve on it, because that's what he's trying to do now, like for like subs, but it's not improving because the players aren't good enough. And I believe also when you look at plan B, it's not there. There isn't one. And that's where I think he can do better. I think with plan A, it's harder to make it better without the personnel at the moment, because I don't think we've got them. But I'm talking about a plan B. I'm talking about using Martinelli. I'm talking about using it through the middle. I'm talking about using Smith Rowe over on the left. I'm talking about potentially changing the formation and maybe using Kai Havertz as a nuisance up top alongside Gabriel Jesus or Martinelli. Yeah, having Trossard in the middle using his creativity and then allowing for Havertz and for Eddie Nketiah if you want. I'm only using the personnel that we've got. Try the personnel you've got and try and make it a bit different. Sometimes it's difficult, might not work, but just try it. It's like you've got to have the ambition to want to do something, right? You've got to have the will to want to try and do something. I could be the manager of Colchester United and try and appoint Carlo Ancelotti. Right? Sorry, the owner of Colchester United and try and appoint Carlo Ancelotti as my manager. He's going to turn around and say no, but I've gone for the ambition. I've actually asked him. There's no point me knocking on a door and saying, "Oh, look, let's say, who can I pick? Jimmy Bullard. Do you fancy being the manager of Colchester?" People go, "Oh, that's a strange option, Dad." And I'm going to go, "Yeah, but it's probably the best I can do." Always go for the best, because if I'm throwing 3 darts, yeah, and I'm throwing 3 darts at the 1, I'm probably going to hit 3. If I throw it at the 20, yeah, I might hit 1, but there's a chance I'm going to try and hit the 20s and I'll get a better score. That's the way I should be doing it, right? I'm no good at darts, but I'm not going to really hit the treble 20, so I'll try and hit a 5. Nah, go for the 20s. Always go for it. Always go for the best mark, because if you just fail, you finish there. You don't finish down here. Yeah, you don't accept getting 4th or 5th and then, I didn't quite get that either. I got 6th or 7th, and that's what Arsenal were doing over the last few years between Emery and Arteta. That was what was happening. So listen, I'm going to leave it there. People, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that Josh and Stan Kroenke are to blame for what's happening at Arsenal? Are you done with them? Do you think that it's harsh to call them out because of the money they've spent? Is it harsh to suggest that the money they've spent is wrong and that he's given the money to the wrong people and that they are to blame because they're the ones that have been allowing this money to go? I've been really interested to know your thoughts in the comments, so please make sure that you do that. Big up for the super chats. Big up for your interaction, as always. Absolute pleasure to be with you today. And make sure you do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and join us tonight at 7:30. And the reason I wanted you to join us tonight at 7:30 is because I've got with me Dan Lawless. I've got with me Don, Chelsea fan, Greasy Don. I've got Deji Spurs with me, who thinks Spurs are going to win the league. And I've got Guna Lee. Now, Lawless reckons he's going to cook Guna Lee tonight. Deji and Don, trust me, they're going to get it, and they're going to definitely give it as well. Don's got to hold that because Pochettino and Chelsea are falling apart. It is a new show tonight at 7:30 p.m. called This Is London. It's all to do with London clubs, and it's a little bit similar to Matisse's London Clubs Carnage, but obviously with new personnel and more clubs. So that's what we're going to be doing. Gilles has said, I've realised that Arteta is out of his depth. The signings and man management have been poor, and Havertz, Chelsea stink. Arteta's not good enough. Listen, the Havertz one is definitely on him. He's got to hold that. He's got to hold a lot of it. Every department at the moment is underachieving because of Mikel Arteta. The goalkeeping situation is on him. The midfield, the defence, and the striker. All the options and problems we've got issues with at the moment or concerns with is to do with Mikel Arteta. So make sure you do me a favour, people. Big up all of you. Make sure you hit the like button. Are we on 100 likes yet, people? Are we on 100 likes? We're on 92. We're only 8 of you away. Just hit the like button. 8 people need to go thumbs up. It's absolutely free. All you need to do is click it, and then we're on 100 likes, and I'm happy. There's over 200 of you still in here, so that shouldn't be hard at all for you to do. 2 away now, people. 2 away from 100. Come on. Before I wrap up, make sure that we get to 100. Come on. Who wants to hit it? One of you's going to be number 100. Who's going to be number 100? We've got 2 more to hit, man. 2 more likes to hit. It's there. Well done. People, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Much appreciated. All the love and support. Literally, this channel's been fantastic over the last few, and it does fill me with joy to see you all there and sharing the love and the passion with it, because for me, it's been a tough time, and for all Gooners. And unfortunately, it's not a great time to support Arsenal right now. But let's hope it gets better, man. Let's hope. What we can do is hope and pray. I'll love you and leave you. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time. Latest, people.